Hi, friends. Hello, hello. It's Michelle with my Shovel Creations. Welcome to Christ and Crafting on the first Sunday of November. Sure did miss this last month. I hope you guys missed it too, actually. um, it's always one of my favorite events of the month. Let me get myself shared here just a little bit. Oops. Oopsie. There we go. Nope. How come? There we go. I'm like, how come? Nope. How come my I didn't mean to do that. Why is that there? All right. Technical difficulties. Technical difficulties. I don't know why that comment is up there and I don't know how to get rid of it. Let's see. Oh, I've got them all up there. Hey, Callie. I was trying to do this on my phone here, and I did something that made the comments all show up over there. No, there we go. Okay, there. Now I see. There we go. That's better. Wow, I haven't worn makeup in a long time. I'm sorry about that, guys. I don't even recognize myself. Hey, Callie, how was the wedding? How was your son's wedding? I'm anxious to hear about that. I hope that you're able to get on later today. Hey, Pam. I'm just going to make sure real quick that I am shared out, just because I don't see Leesa in there in the comments just yet. Well, where did I share myself? I thought I shared myself somewhere. Maybe because I was preoccupied by that whole comment debacle. No, she's got me in the group. I don't know. I don't know. Oh my gosh. There we go. I think this is it. I think I'm good now. It's a good thing we have an hour, right? Okay. Oh, good. Yes. No, you'll have to send that to me. Hey, Pam, Callie, Leesa. Hey, guys. Thanks so much for Oh, I think I must have deleted it, Lisa. I was having issues. I probably did that. So today's message is on hope. I'm glad that you got to dance. Dancing is always fun. It's my favorite form of exercise. So earlier, as I said, I sure did miss this last month. Everybody, like October was just, everybody had stuff going on and we weren't able to pull it off. So we're back and I'm so happy that we're here. Hey, Grace, I loved your message as always. Hi, Carol. Thanks you guys so much for hopping on. My name's Michelle. My business name is My Shovel Creations, and I have Shovel's Creative Club and Paper Pack. Hey, Jeanette. Hi, Capri. All my friends. All my friends are here. It makes me think of, I always say this, my oldest daughter, she was that girl on the playground. We played ball, so that we were always at different ballparks and different kids and everything. And she was that girl that would run up, hi friend, to everybody. Oh, so when I think about hope, I tend to always like whatever the subject is, I tend to think about what the opposite of that is, so that I can think through where Christ is in that. Okay, so the opposite of hope is hopelessness, right? Um, Hopelessness, rock bottom, that type of thing. So I feel like I actually did a painting called Surrender some years back, and it is, I feel like on the other side of we experience hopelessness or a rock bottom or a feeling of I give up, I give up. Um, on the other side of the surrender from those circumstances is where hope is. That's where hope lives. That's where Jesus is. So that's when I wrote down on the other side of surrender is hope. When you've given up is when you realize that you are being held up. And um, if you've ever experienced that in a way where Jesus has met you in that place, then you know that feeling of pure hope and love is something that you just never forget. That you never forget that point when you're at your lowest, that God comes in and says, I am here. I'm here for you. I love you. You're my child. You know, um, that's just, it's just so beautiful. So as far as verses, I wrote down Matthew 5:3 on the idea of this. Blessed are the poor in spirit, for they shall see God. So I feel like poor in spirit, meaning your spirit has been depleted, right? um God is experienced in those times when you're poor in spirit in a personal way that isn't experienced other times, in my opinion. And you see that theme throughout the Bible a lot. Psalm 34:18 says, the Lord is near to the brokenhearted and saves those who are crushed in spirit. And circumstances come along where we are being molded and shaped into our fullest potential, and Jesus is doing that through those times. So, um, like I say, I started out with the opposite of hope, hopelessness. And on the other side of surrendering due to circumstances is where our hope in Jesus is found. The other verses I wrote down is the Lord delights in those who will fear him, or those who stand in awe of him is another way to say that, who put their hope in his unfailing love. And then Romans 5:5, and hope does not put us to shame because God's love has been poured out into our hearts through the Holy Spirit who has been given to us. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and show my project, which is something that's super different than what I usually do. And y'all, I put on this long sleeve shirt and I am dying. There, I knew I had a ponytail around here somewhere. Hi, Dee Dee. Hi there. Yes, and I feel like everybody has had those times in their lives, I don't think it doesn't have to be great loss. There are people that have lost children, and what a horrible thing. And there are people that have had horrible circumstances. It doesn't have to be that. It doesn't have to be that for you to feel hopeless, for you to have gotten to a point where you understand that we are not self-sufficient. No matter what we think and what we try to tell ourselves, we're not self-sufficient. We have to be held up. We have to be held up by our Savior. So I'm going to go ahead and move my project up here, and I'm going to read this. If you guys know who Tony Evans is, he is actually Priscilla Shire's father. Let me grab my grab my thing, and you guys will see. This is nothing like what I normally do. Point this down, and then I'm gonna flip it around, and then I'm gonna swipe it out. There we go. Okay, so I got this thing. I guarantee you this thing weighs 10 pounds. It's so heavy. So I got this in I don't really remember why it was an odd thing that was in with a lot that I got, which I think was portraits maybe, or maybe cabinet cards. I don't know, but it was at an auction. And on the back, this person has written 316.87, $28, the Plaid Giraffe, which the Plaid Giraffe is a store here locally. And then this says Studio 45. I don't know which must be, but you guys remember from the 80s when these cherubs were so popular. Well, I like it. I think I'm going to hang it above my door right here in this very room, above the door where you walk in. But you can see when I turned it over, it was that ugly brown color. Yes. Oh, yes. Yes, Capri. That definitely. God shows up. Whether or not we show up for him, he shows up for us. And, again, that's humbling, because it's happened to me many, many times as well, where I have been at a place where I'm like, I don't have time, or, you know what we do. So, but he still shows up. He's still there. So this is from a Bible study with Tony Evans, and I just kind of copied and pasted it so I could read it to you, where it says, we've all seen restored furniture, upcycled items. And let me tell you, while Grace was doing her gratitude journal, I was like, oh my gosh, I never do stuff like this for my lives. I do it for my own home, because we all do those kinds of things. And I really am going to miss doing paper. I was so into what you were doing, Grace. But this right here made me think, okay, well, I was going to do this anyway. I'll just do it for the live. We've all seen restored furniture. Restoring furniture involves stripping away old varnish or paint with strong chemicals. This reveals all the nooks, crannies, and original spots on the piece of furniture. Then sanding takes place. The sanding takes place next, where the wood is rubbed with coarse sandpaper in order to level out its imperfections. Then the furniture is ready to receive a new stain or paint color. It's ready for a new look. New glory can be given to old furniture, and God can do the same thing with you. He can put new glory inside your old life, but he must strip away all the blemishes while also sanding away the strongholds in order to bring you to a place of purity and dependence on him. The Lord longs to bless and restore you, but he also wants to transform you in the process. Sometimes the greatest path to healing involves embracing the hurt while understanding God is after your greater good. Just like an athlete experiencing pain and taking him or her to the next level of strength, God often uses the painful times in our lives to make us stronger. So I think that, especially in this genre that we're in, as creatives and lovers of creative endeavors, we've heard the metaphor many times about restoration and as it pertains to the gospel. So I just thought that that's what I would do here, is give this a new look, new life. I did not care for that brown, that ugly brown finish that was on there. I just did one single coat of paint over top of this. I used a turquoise and a green, and this is my favorite color combination when I'm making a patina finish. So I'm using DIY paint, and this is Old 57, and this is Salty Kiss, and those two mixed together to me make just the perfect green turquoise. So any paint, acrylic, whatever, you know, whatever you use, usually this color right here is kind of like called a tropical something or other, but you add a little green to that and you get just the great coppered patina look. So I did a quick one coat before I went and tried to do something with my hair. Yes, exactly, Lisa. Me too. Me too. And I still do this stuff. I just do it for my own house, and I don't really go live doing it very much anymore. I do want this to be completely dry. So I am going to have to do this. Sorry, have to use the dryer. I was hoping I wouldn't have to. But DIY paint is clay based, and actually Leesa is a retailer for it. I'm no longer a retailer. And I like it to, if I go back over this and the spots that are wet, those spots will just come off. They will just come right off. So I want it to be pretty dry. Yes, restoration. And, oh, you know, I think that the biggest thing for me in my experiences have also just been the no longer feeling shame, you know, all of that being removed. Oh my gosh. That is the biggest release that I could ask for. All right, it's not quite all the way dry. So I'm just going to try and avoid those places. And I know it seems weird that I'm going to spritz this a little bit, even though I just dried it, but I don't know why. This is just how it works. This is just how it works. And I'm going to do a little bit of Pouncy on this instead of, and I'm just doing my brush half and half here. Oh, Lord. That's annoying. So yeah, I am kind of missing my paper crafting right now. I mean, that is definitely, it's funny how as creatives we evolve, we change, we, you know, especially we love to do all the different things. And my passion being journaling right now. I'm saying right now because, you know, we never know when that, we never know when something else will come along that says, hey. But I never stopped doing these kinds of things. I just, and I don't really need full coverage of this, but I do kind of want the coverage to be somewhat even, if that makes sense. Doing a little pouncy pounce. When I was cleaning this thing, you guys, so, you know, it's got all these crevices and stuff. All I could think of is this is so reminiscent of true motherhood. Do you guys remember when you had little chubby cherubs and you know, like let's just ice cream, for example, and all of the crooks and crevices in their little, you know, their little chins and, you know, the snow cone or whatever, what juice would drip all down in there and everything. So yeah, I was cleaning this thing and I was like, oh my gosh, this is like true real life. What it was like, you know, like I said, we were at ball fields a lot. My husband played, oh my gosh, when our kids were little, I think he played for 3 or 4 different teams. Being the you know, star athlete that he was. It's so funny. We would have never gotten along in high school. Hey, Sue. So, basically, we're talking about in the circumstances of hopelessness. If you're in a circumstance of hopelessness or despair, on the other side of surrendering, kind of throwing your hands up, that's where hope is. That's where hope lives. Okay, you guys. So I think that's a pretty good base. Can you guys, I think you can see these colors, I'm telling you, the perfect, you guys, have you seen in Kansas City, which is the closest kind of big city to me, there's some old buildings downtown that have copper, different copper things along the top. And they just turn the most beautiful green patina color. All right, we're just gonna, okay, I need to let it go. Let it go, leave it alone, it's good. Hi, Maureen, how are you? So I'm gonna let that dry for a second. I thought I might have, I'm pretty sure I do actually. I'm pretty sure I have a a print or a copy of that painting, which was basically my interpretation of that whole concept. I'm pretty sure I have one in here. So I thought I'd share it. Why not, right? While we're talking about it. The trick is going to be whether or not I can find it in here. Oh! Did it just look like a big old blob? Yeah, this is something that I got in an auction lot. And since I read a little thing about restoration, I thought, well, that is what we do. We strip it down and sand it down and then build it back up into something beautiful. And isn't that just what God does for us as well? Oh, I'm not seeing it. It may not have been meant to be. Maybe it's just not meant to be. Oh, here it is. Okay, so this is and this is just a print of the painting. I'm not really sure that the color is all that great on it. Let's see. I think it is upside down. Nope, it's right side up. Okay. So I started out, let's see, can you see that those are her hands? I don't know. I think if I remember right, I started out with doing her, and then the tree and everything just kind of happened around it. But she is definitely bared down to having no other options but to reach out to God at this point. And so that's why the name, oh, what does it say? 12 of 2020. So it's been almost 5 years ago. She's just done. She's to the point, and she has to surrender. And at this point in 2020, I may not have known it, but this Michelle in 2025 knows that on the other side of that is where hope was, and that's where Jesus was too. So I don't necessarily paint on canvases anymore. Sometimes I think I might like to, but I don't know. You know, we go through stages, we move on, do something different. Now that we got a good kind of base patina down on here, I'm going to use some copper. I'm going to use Pennies from Heaven, also by DIY, and do a little bit of highlighting. And we're also going to add some rust. And I'm going to do like a faux rust finish too. Like the patina look is one of my favorite looks. Like something's been buried in the, you know, down in the ocean. Like buried treasure. All right. Thanks for your patience during the drying process, guys. It's so hard not to rush. Okay. I think we're good. I think we're good there. So let's see. I'm thinking before let me get this brush out of the way, but before I go to the copper, I think I might want to do some of the rust. And you see a lot of people, it's funny because I wasn't necessarily in the crafting world before I got into paper. I was just more into furniture painting and canvas painting. So I didn't really see all of the, you know, the whole, everybody uses like cinnamon and I don't know, like there's a lot of different ways that people kind of achieve this look. I just always paint it because that's what I started out doing. That's just kind of what I know. But if you know, if you do a finish like this, do what is easy. This damn thing it's not gonna come out of here like that. So this is this color is called Cherry Picked. It's a very deep, I think it's in the red family. But a lot of people say it's purple. To me, if it's purple, it's the reddest purple ever. But I spread it out like that. Maybe you can kind of see the color. It's like a wine color. And I'm just going to take this and kind of, it almost looks like it's the color that was the base of this. I'm going to just pounce it in a few places. Oh, thanks, Leesa. Hey, how are you, friend? How are you doing? I know. Y'all don't come at me. I have never been I've never been the pickiest person when it comes to how I treat my stuff, you know, and you get all of the whole contamination and blah 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 using distilled water. Ain't nobody got time for all that. But again, you do you. So I'm just taking this very primary orange color. It's just a bright orange, and kind of going over the top of that burgundy. I feel like you guys can't even see. And that's where the rust color comes in. Thank you, Maureen. Me too. Yeah, I know. When I very first was in that community, I called it a reddish and was corrected. Was corrected under no uncertain terms. No, it's actually purple. And I was like, well, okay. That's not how I see it, but, you know, color is sometimes open to interpretation, I suppose. Okay, so yeah, this is one of my favorite combinations. I did a whole entire piece in this cherry Picton fire starter. And if more is needed, then we will add more. For now, I think I'm going to call her good with these little spots right here. Just can't leave well enough alone, can you, Michelle? Oh, that was an accident up here. Okay. Oh, that's okay, Lisa. Thanks for showing up. I appreciate it, girl. This all day long, everybody that is presenting up until 7 o'clock Central tonight is the last presenter. We'll be talking about hope, being anchored in hope. Okay, let me get this out of the way. And I'm just going to be using Pennies from Heaven. This is another DIY product. Again, I don't retail for DIY anymore. I might, if I have any, I have very few little bits of different products, like still on my website. But I know Leesa is a retailer. So I'm just going to take some of this and put it on my finger. And just very lightly dab inside the rusted part. And it really gives it that look of copper underneath. Let's see, can you guys see that? And again, y'all, this thing weighs I guarantee this thing weighs 10 pounds. It's so heavy. So I'm going to have to make sure when I put it, that's another reason I'm just going to put it over my door, because I know that the frame will be there and could support it. I thought about putting it on my hutch, like on the top of my hutch, but it would be a very it would be a balancing act there too, for sure. So I am going to give this copper make it to where it's easier for me to get to throughout, just kind of with my fingers. And after I do this, that's when I'll know whether or not I need more rust. But yeah, I think that this will look good over my door here. And I will always think about, you know, this message of hope when I see it. And I loved the verse that Grace shared about how it was thought by others, you know, that death led to darkness. I think it is. Did you see the back of it? You can see the mold and everything. I mean, this stuff is thick and heavy. But that dark brown that it was, like, you could barely make out any of the detail because it was so dark. There's always, when I'm doing this, I always feel like the mix of having it too wet on your finger versus too dry, you know, like finding the right amount of pressure. And so in this finish, you know, if you notice on real patinaed items, sometimes there's a very fine white layer over the top of everything. And so using a white wax or oh, I see people use, like, it's very, they call it wax, but it looks more like a glaze over the top, is a really good way to give it that look, and you wouldn't have to do it over all of it. You could do it over different areas. This copper that I'm using, it does not require a top coat. Okay. See, like I can't see. I like to look at it in the, yes. Hey, Phyllis. How are you, friend? Ooh, that had a glob of wet paint back there. It's like I said, this was kind of like real life, cleaning this up. So like this little baby, this little chubby cheek baby had some stuff behind his ear. Okay, let's do something. Right there. Okay, so now I feel like we've kind of hit the tops of things. And this, like anything else, like paper, anything else, is going to be all about layering. So I'm going to take just a smidge of Luli. That's my official unit of measure. And I'm going to take this is a really deep dark teal. And this is called Bohemian Blue. One of my favorite colors. I use it all the time. And I'm getting it pretty watered down. And actually, I'm going to grab a little bit of this. And it'll kind of give it like a flake look. Let's see, and I'm going to have to hold him up. Let's see if I can get it to where you guys can see. And I'm just going to go like that. And then hit it with some water so that it completely drips down. Ooh, guys, can you guys see that my arm is shaking from the weight of this thing? So I'm just letting that drip into the crevices and giving it just a whole nother layer of, grunginess, like that this thing has been down at the bottom of the ocean or something. And when you're wanting to kind of apply a different layer and wanting to give it kind of a natural look, I feel like, spritzing it with water and just kind of encouraging it to go naturally how it's going to go is a really good way to do that. Oh, Lord. Yes, me too. Layering, I tell you, faux finishes was one of my all-time favorite things to do always as a furniture artist, just to create the look of, patina, or the look of wood, or the look of rust, like we did here. So yeah, I am going to give my poor little muscles a break and continue to kind of do this. Just, let's see if you guys can see, just periodically. And it doesn't, like, I can put straight paint on there. It just takes a little bit more squirting when you do. And then, tipping it, however, like, I want that to kind of go into those wings there. And then let it disperse. Oh my gosh, guys. Whoa. Girlfriend might need to do some weights. Girlfriend might need to work out a little. Lord. I mean, y'all. Oh my gosh, that is so funny. It's just funny to me because I used to work out all the time, and I really was heavy into the weights because I wanted to be strong. Whew. I can tell it's been a minute since that. All right, you drip this way now. So in between, because like right there, I don't know if you can see right here, I have taken the paint off by holding it there. And the reason is because it was wet. So, I mean, DIY paint is the only paint that I've actually really worked with. I didn't do any other kind of, this is clay, but any other kind of chalk style paint. So I don't know exactly how other paint reacts, but I do know with this, you want it to, it's very fragile at this point where it's really, really wet like this. And I like to work with it when it's really, really wet. So the best thing to do is try not to touch it, because your hands being really dry will just pick the paint right up off of the surface. But you can see how the water kind of diminishes all the hard edges. You spritz it in there while it's wet. Yeah, I've used other paints, but I just keep coming back. I just keep coming back because I don't know, it could be that it's that I learned with this paint, or I'm not sure, but I definitely I got all that paint in that little divot there. Oh. I used to, at the bottom of my easel, you guys, I had, like my easel that was on the floor, I would have to put big shop towels underneath because it would get so full of liquid, like the floor. And the DIY paint is so highly pigmented that it's going to stain. It's going to stain your floor. There, I got that out of there. Oh, gosh. Okay. So over the top of that, I also like to take the old 57, which is this turquoise color here without the green, And if you water it down a lot of water, it's almost white, but it's got that little bit of tinge of blue that it will give that look of white that I was talking about, that oxidation look over top of these darker colors. Or you can also, like, you know, like I say, wax the entire thing with white wax, and that gives that too. So that dripping method I also usually will do with the colors that we use to make rust, because you know how when rust gets wet, sometimes it drips. So we'll put a little bit of that. Right there, and give it a spritz too, and let that rust color drip along with that blue color there. And they just, all of these colors just all, oh, it's one of my very favorite color combos. Guys, I've been on here for 50 minutes. You know what? I meant to, I'm going to see right quick who is up after me so that I can tell you for sure. It is Lydia. Oh my gosh, why can't I think of her business name? Lidia-Brigette Design, Studio Lidia-Brigette Design, is that right? She's up after me. Thank you, Leesa. And she always has a great message and an amazing project. I'm just putting that on the edge and then giving it a spray. And sometimes if, you know, like you get it on there too thick or whatever, you can encourage the drip a little bit with your brush. So probably at this stage right here, I would be about letting it dry. So I do kind of like that rust look in the wings. So I'm going to put a little bit more of that. There's a little divot right here, and I feel like the water, you know, kind of gets trapped in there. But yeah, like if you do mixed media, your canvas, whatever, sometimes water is such a great tool. Use it. Use water and gravity. Water and gravity is some of my favorite, you know, things to use. I have been known to pick up an entire, you know, dresser to get things to drip the way I want them to. So yeah, I mean, we're at the finishing stages. Just a few more layers. A few more layers. It's hard to tell with, you know, because its face is kind of that turned. But I think that over my door, he's going to be, let's see if I can hold him somewhere that's not super wet. Well, he's going to be, I'm going to use some of that technique with the lighter. This area right here on his head is a little dark for my taste. So I will lighten that up. What time is it? Shoot, I got some minutes. I'm gonna take some of the turquoise color that I started out with. And I'm just going to go back over top of this a little bit. Oh, sorry. Just right here where I feel like it's a little bit dark. Basically bringing that base color back over the top. By dabbing a little bit. And if I go too far this way, I'll add more dark. Oh yeah, I like that little bit of light just over the top there. It makes the rust feel like a layer of, you know, stuff has dripped down over the top of it, kind of, and then dried. Thanks, Linda. So you guys, if you, I hope you're watching in the Crafty Bunch. Just refresh your pages. Lydia is coming up with a message on hope and an amazing craft. I will post the finished product. I may even post it hanging over my door. I feel like no matter what I do, it moves in and out of the frame. But yeah, right now it's to the point where it's wet and I can't really tell what needs to happen with it until it dries a little bit more. So yeah, there he is for now. I feel like there's a lot going on, but there's some dry and wet spaces in there, and DIY paint dries lighter than than it does after it's top coated. So there's kind of a mix of light and dark. So yeah. Thank you, Leesa. I know. That's why I'm thinking that over, you know, where the door header is, perhaps will work. We'll see. If not, it's going to have to go somewhere else. But thank you guys for hanging out with me. I appreciate you guys so much. I'm open and available if you have any questions or any thoughts about things that we share. throughout the day. I know all of the ladies feel the same. Yeah, refresh your page for Lydia. She's on right now. And again, thanks so much for hanging out. Let's see. I can't think of what I have going on. There's some things up in the air about my trip to Tennessee. So I will keep you posted as to whether or not that continues as planned. I've almost got off, and then I realized I still had 2 minutes. So yeah, the next step is just blow drying, and you guys don't want to waste the last 2 minutes with that. Let's see. I don't know what's going on. I think maybe aside from that, next week, the next thing. Oh, next week is the Patchwork of Friendship for the Monday night group is coming up. And the first Friday sale is always the Friday before that. So that's coming up. And those are all Crafty Bunch presentations. I was trying to see if there were any questions. Does anybody else that's in here do faux finishes or mean Popeye spinach? I do, Linda. I cannot believe how much I was shaking on when I was holding that up. When I said I bet this thing weighed 10 pounds, what I meant was 25. Yeah, I think it's going to be super cute when it's done. I look forward to the finished product. Right now it looks kind of modeled because it's wet and dry. But yeah, you guys, oh, and also if you have any questions or any desire to learn more about the paper pack, you can put hashtag paperpack in the comments and you'll get a message with a link for a description on our monthly paper pack. A lot of the girls that are watching are in that group with me, and I will see you guys later today at 4 o'clock for the Zoom. And I will see the rest of you hopefully next week for the First Friday sale and the Patchwork of Friendship. And I will talk to you all later. Bye, guys.